Good morning. My name's Tyler Hendrickson, and I'm so excited to be applying for the special education role at Heritage Elementary School. This is actually a full circle moment, and I brought something with me just to have a laugh at. So, the reason I chose Heritage Elementary School is because I attended there in the special education program from kindergarten through fifth grade in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I had a fantastic experience. And like I said, here's just a funny thing I kept. I gave this to my grandmom. She passed away, and I was able to get it back. But there's your young man attending Heritage Elementary School. Just a funny thing. So I'm really lucky. Heritage wasn't part of my feeder pattern because of Delaware law that allowed students to go to different schools. I was able to choose Heritage, and my parents did some research and found that was one of the best schools in the general area with a special education program. And my teacher for most of that time was Miss Monaco. She was a special education teacher there, and she did a fantastic job educating me and providing care. But I was also integrated into normal classrooms, and that was huge for me as well. Later on, I started working at Apple, and I was teaching computer classes, and none other than Mrs. Monaco showed up, and I was able to have another full circle moment and teach her about how to use her computer. And shortly after that, I was really inspired to get into education and consider being a teacher, and more specifically, a special education teacher. Past elementary school, just talking a little bit about my educational background. I had a hard time adjusting from elementary school at Heritage to middle school. It was a time that many are challenged with. You're trying to find your in group, and it was tough. I got out of special education in sixth grade and moved to normal classes, and I'm sure that was part of the adjustment as well. I was really prideful at the time, and I wanted to get out of those classes, and I didn't realize how much benefit I had from being in smaller groups and having time to be understood. And that's really what it was. I felt misunderstood. Moving to high school, I went to Del Castle Technical High School. And in that environment, you choose a shop after ninth grade, and I chose carpentry. And this was another situation where I just felt misunderstood and a bit of a misfit, excuse me. And after ninth grade, I had the option of going into, again, a smaller group environment, doing cabinet making, and I decided to leave that environment for a bigger group, and that's where that misunderstanding really started to come down on me. But when I finally got a job after graduating, I went to Apple, and in that environment, I felt really cared for, and people took time to understand me. And shortly after doing a sales job for a bit, I became a creative, like I mentioned earlier, where I was doing some teaching sessions. This was an opportunity to kind of get my feet wet and decide that I wanted to be an educator. Some of my favorite experiences there had to do with working with kids, part of Apple Camp, where we teach them how to make a song or create a book, creative projects. But one of my best times or moments where I went beyond the requirements of a project, we would do a program called Joint Venture. We would work with businesses and help them understand how they could improve their productivity using our products, or generally learn that way. So one of my teammates got sick and called out, and I was assigned to work with a business. Now, the person who was sick, they had been working to really custom tailor an experience with this company that went beyond just working with Apple products. They were using some third-party software. We agreed to meet in the mall office, so I was sort of off campus from the store. If I had any sort of questions or research where I would normally tap someone on the shoulder, one of my teammates, I was out of that landscape. So I had to do a lot of quick thinking. And I knew all of this going into it. Luckily, I was a little younger, so I wouldn't have gotten as anxious. I was so prideful and ready to go. And I'm glad I was, because we ended up having a really great experience. Even though in the moment I was really scared, I was able to step up, use my tools that I had, and help them understand their products a little better. I think that, coming to Heritage Elementary School and having so much pride for the brand, having that association as a kid, is going to make me a great candidate to work at Heritage, because I'm bringing that pride and that joy and that great experience I had in the late 90s, but still applying a lot of the things I learned about from Apple, being such a great environment for diversity, working with so many different types of customers and teammates, and understanding that we're going to have more diverse classrooms than ever. So bringing that level of care is going to be huge. Also understanding what it felt like to be a bit of a misfit, and being able to identify where we can reach out and make kids part of a group rather than letting them fall into the sideline, and celebrating people's differences. I think I have a firsthand experience on what that felt like, being a bit of an outcast in later grades, and bringing some of that back into that great elementary school experience. And then finally, being able to in the moment think on my feet and come up with lessons and work with our students is going to be huge, because there's going to be times where we have more time in the classroom, or there's going to be some interesting questions that I don't know the answer to, and being able to celebrate not knowing and how to research that is going to give skills to the children that we work with for their lifelong journey of education. So I hope that you'll consider me as a special education teacher at Heritage Elementary. Have a great day.